just this whole drama of releasing the Epstein files, the refusal to release the Epstein files, and how it's created a pretty big rift between President Donald Trump and Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Take it away, Lindy.
Oh man, guys, so much is going on. And even since I first started producing this segment and right now, a lot has changed. Last night, I don't know if you guys saw, but President Trump asked for House Republicans to vote to release the Epstein files. There's scheduled to be a vote on Tuesday, so this is a huge 180. I bet somebody finally told him it is totally to his detriment to be taking the stance that he was, which is to be fighting the base of his party who wants the Epstein files to be released. He is now up against MTG, Thomas Massie, Ro Khanna's effort to release the Epstein files. And the victims actually signed a letter saying, we need this. We need this to come out. It's not just about us. It's about all the women in this country. You're basically telling the women of America that they don't matter. If the files don't come out, our lives don't matter. But he's made a U-turn. So a lot has changed in the last intervening hours. But
before you get to that, Lindy, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Because prior to Trump saying that he would like the House to vote in favor of releasing the Epstein files, he had also announced that he wants to launch an investigation into all the Democrats. So what I'm a little bit concerned about in that regard is even if the House votes in favor of releasing the Epstein files, if people within the files are being investigated, that could allow for basically withholding documents.
That's a good point, and my concern is even greater than that, because let's consider what it takes to move legislation through the House and the Senate. Okay, if you want a veto-proof majority, you need 2/3 of the Senate. You think we're going to get that? And then it lands on his desk, you think he's going to sign it? So I'm just saying that he could just be saying that knowing it won't pass.
Maybe. We're going to have to wait and see. Right now, it's really based.
We must keep in mind,
right?
Because such a huge U-turn is like, it's a lot. It's a lot to digest. But right now, there's a civil war going on in MAGA, and it's not just the Epstein files. It's also everything that's going on with Tucker and Nick Fuentes. But this certainly doesn't help. But I think somebody finally told Trump that he cannot be seen as being on the side of concealing the Epstein files. It's just you know, somebody even said, I saw last night, that this is the hill that he was dying on.
Right. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, to her credit, has been trying to be a good influence on Trump in getting him to release the files. She does not believe that he is going to be incriminated by the files.
Yeah.
And so she really doesn't understand why he's kind of served as an obstacle in the release.
Anna, that's absolutely right. Connor, can we show the text message that MTG sent to President Trump? This is purely from Marjorie Taylor Greene's side. I have to say, I used to think this woman was a raging lunatic. She was the same person who stalked a shooting survivor from Parkland High School.
David Hogg, yeah.
Exactly. And I've had a lot of criticism for her over the years, but a lot of the stances that she's taken in recent months has seriously impressed me.
I agree with you on that.
I think it's just remarkable. She stood up for the American people, not only on the Epstein files, but also on immigration, also on healthcare, also on being truly America first rather than putting other nations first. So it's been impressive all around. And she's earned a fan in me. So in this text, she is essentially telling President Trump, you have nothing to hide here, so you gotta release the files. It will redound to your credit. It's baffling to me that he didn't take this position earlier on.
So let's read it for our audio audience.
I'm blind, I can't see.
All right, I can read it. So she writes to President Trump, check the flight logs of Epstein's plane. Bill Clinton is on there like 26 times, Hillary too. For many of us, releasing the Epstein files has always been about the women who were victims of Jeffrey Epstein, but also because we believed that Democrat bad guys like the Clintons were entangled and involved with him. Epstein was the spider that wove the web of the deep state. Lean into it. So she's giving him political advice, but also she's trying to make a point about why she's pursuing this effort in the first place.
Absolutely, Anna, thank you for that. Appreciate it. I should wear glasses. I just want to say that after she sent out this tweet, and well, after she showed the world their exchange, she has been inundated with threats. And she's been very vocal about the antics that her family has been subjugated to, which I think is extremely unfortunate. She even said, I spent millions fighting for President Trump, standing up for him. And but I don't worship or serve Donald Trump. I worship God, Jesus is my savior, and I serve my district and the American people. And I just think I'm sure she has other considerations, because she has critics who say this is a sour grapes phenomenon. She's upset that President Trump didn't support her aspirations to be senator of Georgia.
To be fair, though, that claim came from Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Okay, I had to put it out there. Do you think it's
I just don't
legitimate?
really trust her motivations here. And the reason why I'm saying that is because, as someone who obviously is very in the know about what the left has been saying, members of the left have been looking at Marjorie Taylor Greene and they're like, why is it that she's the one who's so vocal in wanting the release of the Epstein files? Why is she the one who's vocal about how, no, we really should extend the ACA subsidies because healthcare premiums are going to double and I don't want my constituents to suffer? You haven't heard much from AOC on those issues. She hasn't been as vociferous on it. And so she's been getting all this pushback. And in an effort to kind of like explain herself, she's basically saying, oh, no, Marjorie Taylor Greene is motivated by something entirely different. She's not doing the right thing just to do the right thing. So that's why I don't really care about her AOC's perspective on this.
Yeah, I mean, AOC right now is having the best time ever because everyone is pushing Chuck Schumer right out of her way.
Right, that's
clearing
true.
her path for 2028 Senate run. She doesn't have to do anything right now except sit there, refresh her lipstick and look pretty.
Well, that's actually true. To be fair, I think that Chuck Schumer is the type of political dinosaur that really shouldn't have any political power at this point. But maybe that's what AOC really is doing. Maybe she's keeping her powder dry.
I mean, what's interesting about pushing Chuck Schumer out of the way, and I think Hakeem Jeffries will shortly follow, is that we really are seeing the full and complete ascendance of the far left progressives into the Democratic Party. It's pretty well taken over by the DSA. And so, we're going to see the dinosaurs pushed out. And while I agree with you that Chuck Schumer has really no place left in politics and in governing at this point, I think what's coming down the pike is going to be much scarier than he was.
Well, certainly interesting because there's having been inside that dinosaur, I have to tell you that there's a huge dichotomy between the AOC wing and everybody else. The money side wants nothing to do with AOC.
Is that
I have to tell you, I was on the National Finance Committee, and we never, ever, and this is not an exaggeration, never did an event with AOC, Bernie Sanders, Rashida Tlaib, any of the squad. They were toxic.
That's why they're ascendant, though, among the electorate, right?
That's true, but I'm just saying, where the infrastructure is just somebody's got to meld the two, because the old guard is not going to go down without a fight.
Right, except AOC is the leading fundraiser in Congress. She's the one who brings in the most money. So she doesn't even need their old guard stuff. She doesn't need that. She's getting all new people. And I thought it was actually to her credit after Trump won in 2024 that she went out to her constituents and she said, okay, you voted for me and you voted for Trump. What's up? What's going on here?
I love that she did that because I think that the divisions in this country are actually what's toxic. And rather than otherizing people who voted for the other side, how about have a conversation and figure out what the reality is and how Americans are feeling. But I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. Let's go back to this feud between Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, because Trump didn't take kindly to that text message that Marjorie Greene had sent him, and has been publicly distancing himself from her.
Exactly. And we talked about our good friend Mark Levin, our favorite neoconservative last time. Exactly. So Mark Levin, the Randy Fines of the world, they're taking this opportunity to basically trash Marjorie Taylor Greene, not because of the Epstein files per se, but because of a separate issue, because she's part of the Tucker Carlson wing. So they're not letting a crisis go to waste. They are doing everything they can to basically torpedo her. And then President Trump himself tweeted truthed about Marjorie Taylor Greene himself.
Calling her a disgrace.
Exactly.
Calling her a traitor.
I actually think I have a better nickname. I used to call her Marjorie Taylor Grease.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, no.
But now I like her.
I do feel like she's matured quite a bit since she was first elected, and she's kind of proven herself to be sincere about wanting to actually take care of her constituents before anything else, which is rare in politics.
She apologized yesterday.
That is what is needed.
Because Americans really care about their quality of life. And that quality of life has been declining. I mean, it hasn't been great. Everyone knows their grocery bills are up. Everyone knows their health care costs are up. I mean, you go to a doctor and you pay something there, and then you get billed later, and you're like, but wait, I paid. What's going on? What is coinsurance? What are copays? You know, everybody knows that's all crazy. And so when you have Americans strapped like that, we really do need to trust that our representatives are there fighting for us. It's the people's house, and it's called that for a reason. And I think it's interesting, too, that so often you have Americans who like their elected representatives in the House, but they think the House is doing a terrible job, you know?
Yeah,
I just
totally.
think that's fascinating.
Yeah, I love what you just said, because I think Americans viscerally feel what the empirical data says. The empirical data now shows that the average age of a homeowner is 38 years old, which is insane. It used to be in your early 30s. Now it's 38. And then President Trump, I'm sorry, dude, but proposing a 50-year mortgage is not a good idea.
This is a terrible idea.
Terrible idea. You end up paying more to the bank.
And it's like you will never own a home, by the way, no matter how much you're paying.
Yes, exactly.
But the banks will make more money off you.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think he was seeing the fact that Republicans lost 2 weeks ago because of affordability, and he wanted to put out a measure signifying that he cares, but that was a terrible mistake. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's been very strong on health care. She said, even my own family, we can't afford it.
Yeah.
And by the way, 21 out of the 24 states that are most affected by the healthcare premiums going up are red states. These are Republican voters.
You're right. And actually, Laura, this is like an area where I feel like you can really shed your expertise and shed some light on what you've been experiencing in the restaurant industry, right? Because right now the Trump administration is sending mixed messages about what's happening with our economy. They want to argue that, no, this economy is booming, best economy ever. But Americans are complaining about the price of food. So as someone who works in the restaurant industry, and you know about the price of food and the added cost to the restaurant industry, what is the reality? Are prices actually going up? Is inflation continuing to be a problem, or is this just a made-up political issue?
It's interesting. So we are so blessed and so fortunate. So our restaurants are doing well, really, really well. I think that's God's favor. And I think it's because we have been really strategic to take all of these blows that are happening all around us that we have no control over. So we have been doing things to fight, let's say, those price increases. But not all restaurants are faring so well. What I understand from the community is that a lot are doing really, really poorly year over year. And closing, and they just can't take all of these hikes because you have to be very strategic. If the prices are increasing, you can't just obviously translate that to a guest price and what the price of the food is. So we're doing different things to make that happen successfully, and we have been. But I know that it is. I'm speaking in the minority, 100% on that. People are struggling out there for sure with all the hikes.
So the cost of doing business for restaurants has gone up. Some restaurants have decided to eat a portion of those costs to keep prices for their customers low or lower. But
what's worse is actually just the payroll, though. It's the minimum wage and all that. That is way more damaging to us than anything else is, because that one there's nothing really you can do about it. You just got to keep paying them more for the same work. Yeah. But something about Marjorie Taylor Greene that you said, I am so glad that she mentioned, I don't worship Trump. That her alliance and her allegiance is to the Lord, or let's say she's America first, like all of that, because there is a point where I would feel like she was really blindly worshiping this man. And so I like this. But you also mentioned that she was getting death threats. What side is that coming from? Who is attacking her?
Republicans, because they see her as a traitor. Exactly.
I would say, I wouldn't even say Republicans, because I'm seeing a groundswell of support for Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie, by the way, who's also been a target of Donald Trump's. There's, in my opinion, increasingly dwindling group of Trump's base that wants to stick by him no matter what. They're almost sycophantic about it. And so they're probably the ones who are going after Massie and Greene. But the pocketbook speaks.
Going after them. They're going. A lot of them are driven by foreign considerations.
Well, yeah, that too, because Massie and Greene have actually been America first and not wanting to, use so much of our resources in the Middle East. And we have been, and it's not just during the Trump administration, of course. I mean, historically speaking, Israel is the top beneficiary of U.S. foreign aid. Coming in at number 2 is Egypt, but the only reason why Egypt comes in at number 2 is because we literally bribed them to play nice with Israel. So, like, these are...
But they still won't accept Palestinian refugees.
Well, Egypt has an overpopulation issue that's totally crushing them. And I don't think it's Egypt's responsibility to take in anyone if they can't handle an additional group of people that add to their population
now do America.
issue. I mean, well, but here's the thing.
Isn't Ukraine the top right now? I mean, Ukraine's the top beneficiary for the past few years.
For military aid, yeah, because it was hundreds of billions of dollars, like a quick infusion. But in terms of
long term,
it's been Israel.
Too, and then Egypt, and then,
Yep.
And other stuff.
And I have to quickly follow up on a fantastic point you made a few lines ago. But you said that the Trump administration insists to the American people that their economic situation is actually better than it is.
Right.
This is giving Biden economics.
100%.
Remember when
it was such a foible of the Biden administration. It's crazy. It's being repeated by Trump
and
now.
So we had people like President Trump and President Biden himself. He was saying, oh, the economy is actually better than you think it is. You don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe your lying wallets. You actually are rich. Things are getting better. No, tariffs hurt. I'm sorry. I've been a stalwart supporter of this Trump administration, but I've also studied economics and I know how tariffs work. And 80% of tariff revenue right now is paid for by American companies and the American people.
Yeah.
My priority is American people. If this were actually paid by foreign entities and foreign companies, I'd be all for it. But no, it's us. We're footing the bill.
It's an added tax for U.S. consumers.
And
There's
that's
no question.
why Amen. That's exactly right. And that's why just this week, President Trump decided to repeal the taxes on tropical fruits, coffee, and other items, because he realized that they hemorrhaged Republicans were hemorrhaging at the polls because of an increase in prices.
Absolutely.
Well, and the thing, too, that was so crazy was that Walmart graphic that showed that Thanksgiving dinner costs less this year. And then you look more closely at the graphic. It's 22 items last year, 15 this year, and no fresh fruits or vegetables on the menu this year. And I was looking at it, I was like, I don't think that's it. That's not how that's going to go.
There's no amount of gaslighting you can do to convince people who obviously have to pay for these things. You can't convince them that the price of food hasn't gone up.
And
it has. Like, we know.
It has, there's issues with ranchers. That's a problem. Then there's been this whole bird flu thing.
And
so
the
we
beef.
know that beef and chicken are a lot. I mean, like
oh
you
my
go
gosh,
to the
people are
grocery
going to
store
think
it's a lot.
I have to be truthful with American people and also to our viewers. The solution to the rancher situation is not to say let's import more beef from Argentina,
Correct.
which is his solution. I mean, come on, we're trying to be America first. So let's take care of our ranchers.
I agree.
I agree with that too.
Hi everyone, I'm Lindy Lee. If you like this clip, please go to YouTube, look for her take, and subscribe. You won't regret it.